Ronnie, it's Monday after work. I had to work late, get stuff squared up. It was Monday, Monday of hell, but it was all good. I never got hurt or injured. Nothing broke for me, so it's all cool. So I got set back, and I don't have time to go work on where I was supposed to go work on, so figured I'd show you what I got going on here. Ooh, look at that. Where is he? There he is. You see him up there? I could zoom in on him, but he went over the hill. Turkey buzzard, if you see him. Come here, turkey buzzard. Come this eye. He got behind a tree. And my Asian doves are howling. I'll show you something about the Ford pickup. Oh, that's so cool. I love them Asian doves. My Ford pickup valve cover is leaking. But I did get figured out I had a bad spark plug, and it's running better, so I got working stuff. Oh, there comes another one over the trees. Oh, I can't spot him. I don't want to zoom in. Because I'll never see him. Now yeah, he's up over the driveway. If you can see him right above the Highland wire there. Ah, there he is. They're just catching the updrafts from the wind over the hills up here. They come up here quite often and hang out. Okay, now I gotta go back down so I'm not zoomed in. Okay, I got two things I can show you. The boat, it's going to be about boating time. I don't know if you can see it up there in the shade. I can't because the sun's glaring off my phone. But yeah, my John Boat Longtail. Ooh, I got some neat stuff. And then this valve cover gasket leak. And I just replaced a valve cover gasket in it. It's a 300 inline 6, but the old 302s do the same thing. But not quite as bad it seems. I don't know why. But yeah, they're an old cork rubber gasket combination. They used to be all cork, then you cork rubber, and this one has a steel liner every 2 years. So I'm losing oil, and it's dripping out on the ground, and it's not any leaking anywhere, and it ain't really leaking. So I'm going to explain this to you, and I got an idea I've been working on, because I'm tired. Yeah, it used to be $6 for a big 6-cylinder valve cover gasket, cork and rubber. Now they're $38, so I'm going to quit replacing them. I'm not made out of money, you know. And the boat, I got some cool stuff to show you about that too. So, all right, you want to see some neat stuff here in the, maybe engineering and mechanicals and just other normal stuff I had time to do because I got the key erasers on the road. I got all the electronic stuff fixed, valve cover gasket put in that, new coils, new plugs, two new spark plug wires because it's just a dual coil setup for 4 cylinders. I said I think they fire on each stroke. Yeah, that's kind of neat to help emissions. But yeah, there's a boat too. I'll show you what I got going. Look at all the dirt on my window. Just like the mud rain I got in December or whenever it was. Now look what I got. I had that. If you can see all the dirt, I don't know. How come it's looking so dark? Did I adjust something besides? Oh, there. Oh! Too much light. I hit the wrong buttons. Okay, now you can probably see the boat too. The wind blew all the shrink wrap off. Yeah, it's up there. There you go. You can see that. There that is. That must have been exposure or something. Must have bumped the button. Oh well, I got it where you can see what I'm doing now. Okay, I just cracked open the beer, just got home. I gotta show you some cool stuff. Well, I think it's really cool stuff. Alright, now I gotta figure out how to unzoom without changing the exposure. Wow, welcome to my electronic stuff AO. Okay, yeah, that's better. Alright, just don't drink on camera. I'm not on camera. I'm of legal age. Okay, I got a couple cool things to show you. First, here's some stuff about the boat. If you're interested in what's going on here for the longtail outdrive part, I'll get to that shortly. This is about leaking valve cover gaskets on the Ford, the 84 Ford. Okay? They use these cork rubber gaskets up to basically, I think, early 90s. But, you know, if you see close, the blue ain't supposed to be on there. Okay? Cork, and the darker is a type of rubber. I don't think it's natural rubber, but it's cork. Old cork ones were fine. These used to seal and last for 15, 20 years, okay? In the 80s, when you had conventional motor oil, this cork would stop oil from leaking, and the valve cover goes on this goes on top of the head, and there's oil splashing all over in there, and it would stop conventional oil from leaking, okay? And they didn't really break. They'd get old. If you got the engine hot, they'd get hard, and then they would seep and leak oil, or if you had bolts come loose, because you're supposed to retorque them once in a while. But now, on an 84, basically, only oil I find anywhere is semi-synthetic, and, so, yeah, there you go. And these gaskets, I said, I just replaced that one 2 years ago, and it sits a lot. It's only maybe got 4,000 miles on that motor in 2 years, if that, for you snowflakes. 4,000 miles, you know what I mean. They don't, whatever they add, 2 and 2 is 3. Just tell me how you got it, and your answer's right. Not. Okay, but here's what the gasket's supposed to look like. So I'm like thinking, and I started searching, because I don't want to spend $35 every 2 years, because you got to take a bunch of stuff off to even change the gasket. It's a good 2-hour job if you know what you're doing. And there's no reason you should have to change a gasket every 2 years, even if it's only got 2, 3, 4,000 miles on it. But this is all I could find. I started using my melon here, my Guinness brain, and engineered ideas, and I started looking for a full silicone aftermarket valve cover gasket. High temp, full silicone. That will never rot, never burn, never lose its squishy, umpy. Basically, yeah, but oh no, they don't make one. Because you never have to buy another one then. Get it? All I could find was the rubber cork combination, which is already on there. I'm going, okay, in 2 years, this thing will, the gasket isn't leaking. It's not got big gaps or broke. I know it on that truck. It just, the synthetic oil soaks into this rubber cork, and synthetic oil is a different molecular structure than regular conventional motor oil. Conventional motor oil, they'd last 10 years if you didn't get them hot, no problem, and wouldn't leak. Okay. But these are leaking in 2 years, okay? Snowflakes, 2 years. So I couldn't find a silicone gasket. They don't make them. This is basically a cork and Buna-N O-ring rubber, which I believe is butylene nitrile rubber. It's not natural tree rubber, okay? But yeah, that's what this whole piece is made out of and for. But what happens now is I'm noticing with that synthetic oil, the gasket itself doesn't have any damage or anything to it, but because of the different molecular structure of the synthetic oil, the molecules are smaller to lube better, and they get into the gaps through the molecules of this cork and rubber. That's my theory. I'm going to prove and see if I'm correct. I said if it was a solid, I don't want to use solid silicone and just make a big silicone gasket, which I could do if you do right, and smear it on, let it and squish it, because then if you ever got to take the valve cover off again for any reason, a lifter tick, you got to tear it. It's a pain in the butt. This way, it'll be easily removable if on this old vehicle I get a lifter tick, which I have a lifter tick now, which I'm going to take the cover off and go and check everything out. Hopefully I find it. But okay, here's where I'm going. I got ADD. Give me a break. My run million mile an hour in every direction. Okay. But so, I can't buy a silicone gasket. But I know for a fact that synthetic oil is not breaking the gasket. The gasket is not collapsing. It is seeping gradually over time. It soaks through the gasket just like you take a dry rag, put it over a tiny water leak, it'll stop the water leak for a little bit until that towel, whatever you're holding, is totally saturated with water. And then water will start pouring out all over through the towel, even though you're covering the leak, right? Same thing here. This holds the oil back until over years it becomes totally saturated because it absorbs the oil and it can pass through because the molecular structure isn't tight enough. So it gradually fills full of oil that it's supposed to stop, and just like a towel you're holding over a leak, a tiny leak on a water hose or something, finally it'll soak through and start dripping. That's what this is doing. It's seeping through from the inside to the outside, all the way through, getting totally oil soaked, and then it's seeping through the outside all the way around, and it's leaking oil. It's not running out or dripping, it's just seeping. But every couple 100 miles, I'm adding a quarter of a quart, and I had power washed and brake cleaned everything all the way around that valve cover gasket. It was totally dry, and then I had to drive it for the last. It just oil soaked everywhere. It's seeping through. Can't get a silicone gasket, and I don't want to pay another $38 for one of these. I have a spare, and I don't want to pay another $38 for another one and replace it in 2 years. It'll probably be $50, you know. So I'm going, okay, I can't buy a silicone gasket. I'm stuck with this type of gaskets. That's all they make for it. Well, then, the next best thing is using silicone carni. I'm going to try. I think it's going to work. Which is this Ultra Blue, high temperature, 500 degree Permatex. Otherwise, it's known as Loctite 587. This stuff's awesome. It is oil. It's not just, it's oil proof basically. Like your regular black silicone RTVs and your clears, whatever, even the automotive. If you look at the specs, it's not oil proof. They say, oh, resistant. Yeah, it'll resist oil for a year and then it starts leaking. Get it? This stuff, if you notice, it's not real shiny. It's more of a flat, and I'll show you in a minute. Here's my idea I'm going to try. Because I can't buy a total solid silicone formed gasket, I'm taking an original rubber cork one, and I am fine coating it, putting on like a skim coat of silicone. It'd be better if it was formed silicone 1000 degree, but this is 500 degree stuff. And it don't mess around. I'm not sticking it to the valve covers and slamming it together because you never get it apart. Here's my idea, which I'm doing. I'm taking this blue silicone that looks like this, and I wind all the inside edge, okay? A very thin skim coat. It's probably 3/1000 of an inch, but it's stuck. So that will seal the cork and the rubber from the synthetic oil. I did it all the way around the inside. And then, to make sure, I have to do on the outside yet, but then here's what I got done. You got to let it dry first. I got to let it dry. I skim coated with my finger and just put a very thin, I said 2 or 3/1000 inch thick coating of that silicone all the way over the cork. Well, you know, pretty much, I probably got 99% of it. So that should seal. If any oil is splashing in, it should block it. The little tiny ridges, I made sure I wiped this way and this way because oil want to flow this way. You don't want to wipe this way because then, if you can see these little tiny fingerprint grooves as I drag it, they would go from the inside to outside, and that possibly could theoretically leave a gap for oil to seep through. But this should prevent, I have to do this to